Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner, Ash Paulson, Josh Thomas of the BitBlock, and game theorist Trailer Drake to discuss the rumor that Twilight Princess might be coming to the Wii U. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so recently, there was some news that someone basically was scouring the Wii U eShop, or I forget the exact word, crawling the Wii U eShop, and came across an icon for Twilight Princess on the Wii U. And not just that, but the file name for the game was even Twilight Princess HD. So this would suggest that, or hint at the fact that maybe the game actually is coming to the Wii U. And I thought it'd be fun to discuss two things. One, do you think it actually is coming to the Wii U, and how important that might be? And two, what exactly do we want to see from a remake of this game? Because I know we all have varying opinions on that game, and I'm sure we all have different thoughts of what they can do to improve it. So first off, let's just, real quick discuss, do you think this is actually going to happen? Do you think this is really important for the Wii U to get Twilight Princess as a game, either later this year or perhaps next year?
It totally is, because, despite what anybody's feelings on that game is, it's still immensely popular. There's some people that don't like the game at all, and there's some people that absolutely adore it. So it has that passion, and people still remember when it was first released. I think there's a connection there that a lot of people have, and it could potentially do better than the Wind Waker remake. I mean, I prefer Wind Waker to Twilight Princess, but I think most people who have an affection for Twilight Princess, and an HD remake, or even just re-releasing it, would be pretty big for Nintendo.
Well, here's my first question. Is it on the Wii Shop like Punch-Out or Metroid Prime?
We don't know yet. That's the thing, is we don't know if it's actually like an HD remake or if it's just going to be for the Wii Virtual Console, but the icon that was found does not have the Wii, like the white Wii border on the icon. It's just literally the old Twilight Princess art, which is also strange because it's old art and not new art. So there are a lot of weird things about this, but at least does not have the Wii border on the icon. So who knows what exactly it is. It's kind of hard to say.
But that's exactly my point, though, is that if it was going to be a Virtual Console game, then it probably would have come out already, because Metroid Prime is arguably Samus's big game of the past decade, and we also had Punch-Out, which is Little Mac's big game, and he's become really popular because of Smash Brothers. So why haven't we seen Twilight Princess? Skyward Sword, I can kind of understand not coming out on Virtual Console because it is so new in the Wii's backlog coming out near the end of its life cycle. But Twilight Princess, that should be one of the first things to really get people excited about the Wii Virtual Console.
I would agree, except that we're talking about Nintendo here, and this is the same company who did not release A Link to the Past for the Wii U Virtual Console until more than a year into the Wii U's life cycle. How does that make sense? So all I'm saying is that there's not really, I don't think we can point to any sort of pattern here.
Touche.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, there's the fact that they developed the entire conversion software to bring GameCube games to the Wii U, and they've still only used it once. So I'm just amazed we haven't had more remakes, especially on a system that has had, some droughts at times, and especially potentially coming up, where they don't have too many big games left on their radar if they're to carry us to the NX that we know about at least.
Too many big games? Has somebody forgotten about Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival already? Sorry to call you out, right, Andre, but when you're talking poop, I'm going to call you out on it.
Well, and let's not forget, like, the biggest holiday hit of the year, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash.
Oh my god, it's true, you're right.
Those are two huge games.
I'm sorry guys, I screwed up.
At least when Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out, that's a long game, so it'll keep people busy.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. Yeah. But I feel like, the question is, is this going to be either a port or a true remake? I really hope it's a true remake. I mean, if it's a remake, that actually would do a great job of filling in some kind of gap in the schedule, no matter when they put it. I mean, that would be a notable release. If it's just like Mario Galaxy 2 or Punch-Out, it's like whatever. I mean, that's fine. It's cool to have it there. It won't do much. It won't make much of a blip on the radar, I think. Plus, I feel like this would be a great opportunity for them to actually improve the game. Because for me, Twilight Princess, along with the original Wind Waker, were two Zelda games, like two 3D Zelda games I never really got into. And they actively annoyed me. But with Wind Waker, it's with Wind Waker.
Yes, this is me scoffing at you.
I can hear it. With Wind Waker, the biggest issue was a very fundamental part of the game that, with just a few tweaks, it greatly enhanced the entire experience. For Twilight Princess, it has more issues throughout the experience that I think are less apt to being readily improved. So to me, I don't know if it would benefit as much from an HD remake. With that said, it does have a large built-in fan base. I think just a mere act of improving the visuals and making it true HD would be great. And I do think there are some tweaks to the game that can make it, that could even, maybe while not improving it to the same degree as Wind Waker HD, could make it a much better experience. So, maybe we should move on to what you guys want to, what do you guys think they could add to the game? If anything, but I know, Josh, you love the game as is, so maybe you think any improvement will only take away from the core experience. So, what do you guys think? What would you want to see from a true HD remake of this game?
I would like the option to play with either the motion controls or the GameCube controls. Because not everybody likes the motion controls. A lot of people don't like the GameCube controls. So let us freaking pick!
So, I mean, that's a great point. I was wondering the same thing, but I actually prefer the GameCube controls. But if they're using the same, because I believe Twilight Princess is built on the Wind Waker engine, so they could probably use the Wind Waker HD engine, and I would hope they would just use those controls, where you can use both the control stick or use the gyro controls for aiming your bow in first person, like in Wind Waker HD, and at the same time using the gamepad for easy weapon selection.
I would love that.
Right?
That would be a great way to kind of streamline the experience for people who prefer both schemes, but it would also be nice to have the option for people who really are hardcore into one scheme or the other.
Yeah.
But no, I think that would be the best kind of compromise they could come up with. One thing I would like to see personally is a tutorial or opening section that's cut down by 90%.
God,
because that is honestly one of the longest, most bloated damn tutorials in the whole Zelda franchise, if not all of gaming. And Skyward Sword's pretty bad too in that respect. But Twilight Princess is in a whole nother world.
So you don't want to rope cattle?
No.
You don't want to wrestle cattle?
None of that. I want to go. I want to go straight into the forest. I want to go to my first dungeon and not have 4 hours of tutorial bloat before that. God.
You want to talk to a bunch of kids? I got it.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, dude. I mean, you're totally right, Ash. I mean, and I think so. I've long contended that the opening to a game, at least for me, is one of the most important parts of a game. It sets the entire tone for the rest of the experience. I even made a whole feature about this, my top 5 Zelda openings, and Twilight Princess was nowhere near any of those top 5. Because it felt like such a bloated, slow experience. It didn't do anything to put you into the adventure itself. And all it did was teach you a bunch of mechanics you only used once each throughout the rest of the game. It was such a complete mess. And I think they could largely just cut out those tutorials and just make you learn, and just have you learn them as you need them later on in the game. I think that would actually, that actually would do a huge part in improving the overall experience for me, I think.
Another option that would maybe give that opening sequence a little bit more, I don't know, importance is another big complaint a lot of people have with Twilight Princess is the fact that it's a big open world, but there's nothing to do in it.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. So take those things that we're learning in the opening sequence and just start putting new content in the overworld. Okay, here's this new competition for wrangling cattle, or this new sumo wrestling thing that you can do that's a little bit more often, and just keep expanding and making that world sort of come to life as you go along, and free it from the Twilight Realm and people move out and all that stuff. I think that might be, because I doubt they'll cut down that opening. That's just not going to happen. That's a part of the experience. So maybe giving that experience more heft later in the game, as you go along, might be a better way of at least making it feel important, or at least less agonizing.
Maybe, but you still have to get through that really bloated opening to even get through all that, which is why, as Andre said, the first opening minutes and hours of a game are some of the most important, because it does set the tone for the rest of the experience. And it's not the same as it was back in 2001. What was that when this game was released? I can't remember.
2006.
2006. Geez, yeah.
2001.
I don't know. Well, I just picked out a number out of my hat. But 2006, right? People have less patience. They have more to do. They have more things to pay attention to. People have less patience than they used to, and rightly so. And I just don't think Twilight Princess, with its 4-hour opening, is kind of what people are looking for anymore.
I mean, I don't think people were looking for it then.
Well, that's true, but they're really
even
not
more
looking
so
for it now.
Yeah, I agree with that. Attention spans are even less these days, and I mean, I really do think like they would have to fix that to really call it like a definitive version of the game.
What about the idea of like you streamline all that, but you still go back to that content? Like before you do your new thing, you like Link flashes back to, oh yeah, I was taught this back in the day. Because I know there are purists out there that don't want to lose that content, no matter how boring you might think it might be. So what about like just remixing it so it's still the training bit, but before you actually do the main bit, the main portion, so it's a little bit more streamlined or at least focused.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. That's not a bad idea at all, but unfortunately we've gotten way into the realm of things that just aren't going to happen. like Nintendo will not do that with an HD remake of Twilight Princess. Like they're going to want to preserve the original experience, and that just seems like that's too invasive for something they would actually do. But I think it's a great idea.
I don't know. Is it too invasive, you think? Because I mean, I'm looking at it similar to the boat, right? Where I think a lot of people, even back in the day, a lot of people really did like it taking forever to go from island to island.
I loved it.
Yeah, see, there you go, exactly. I couldn't stand it personally, and I love the fact that they cut that down in the remake. But the fact they were willing to do that makes me think they might be more willing to cut out what basically almost everyone agrees on was a very slow opening in Twilight Princess.
I have no memory of the opening of Twilight Princess. Is this bad or?
Are you sure you actually played the game then? If you liked it?
No, you're actually better off if you don't remember the opening because it was a waste of time.
I do have a fun story for the opening though. When it first came out, I didn't have the Wii yet. I was waiting for it for Christmas, but a coworker of mine was getting it for her family, and I offered to wait in line to get her Wii system. So I stood in line, got the game, and as a reward, she was like, "Okay, you can open up the game and play Zelda."
Oh, boy.
Awesome. I was like, I get to try out Twilight Princess right away.
Nope.
So I actually had to do that opening sequence twice. Because once for that game, because I didn't get that far, and then when I got my own game, because it wasn't on my save wasn't on my system, I had to play that opening sequence again.
Wow.
Jeez. Yeah, that's no fun.
So, yeah.
I really want to know what the opening is now, so I want this game to be real. Whether it's HD or just a port on the Wii U, I have to play this game.
So you had to, like, rescue a baby, you had to, like, fish for a cat twice.
Oh, I do remember those, yeah.
Yeah.
But those were necessary to move on.
You had to!
You had to do it.
See, you repressed those for a reason.
It seems like that's stuff that would be fun to just do on your own. Like, fun as in, like, oh, look, there's a baby going down the river that I can try and stop and stuff. But forcing you to do that.
You have a very strange idea of fun, but okay. Hey, there's a baby going down the river. Let me go try to save it. That sounds fun.
And you could turn into the savior of the Jews. You never know.
It's very dark.
Was there some sort of hawk in the beginning as well?
There was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
With something else again you barely even used in the game.
Okay.
But it was really like that. The fishing for that cat, like that, made me so upset because I can't remember the exact breakdown of it, but I remember I forget. Like it just didn't. I remember the cat kept stealing my fish or whatever, and I couldn't get it to trigger the next event. And I forget and I was doing the guide at IGN at the time. It was driving me nuts how to figure like what you had to do. And I think I remember now. You had to lead the cat back to the woman, I believe, back to the shop owner.
Oh yeah.
It just wasn't.
I think I
logical
had
to
that
me.
exact same problem.
Yeah, I think everyone did. It wasn't intuitive at all. Like I'm like, okay, I caught the cat a fish. Why aren't I proceeding? Like I did it 3 times. Like what's going on here? So
you had to rub the fish on your body, get the fish scent, run over to the second house to the right, jump into the water to rinse it off 75% of the smell, then the cat would smell it. I do remember okay, now this is coming back to me. I do remember the cat thing being really obnoxious.
Yep.
Andre, you're turning me jaded and evil just like yourself.
So do you still like the game?
I love the game, yeah.
Do you now?
Fun fact, I don't like... this will anger you guys even more. I don't really care for Ocarina of Time, and I did not like Majora's Mask 3D. So, there you go. Boom.
Wow. Yep.
I mean, neither of those things really surprise me, honestly. After all the discussions we've had with you, Josh, I mean, that doesn't really surprise me. I've kind of become dulled to your very strange opinions now.
Well, I'm happy for you, then.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, I mean, at least it doesn't bother me anymore.
There you go.
Well, I have a question for you, Josh, then.
Okay.
What do you think could be improved about this game? I mean, is there anything you can point to that you would like to see personally improved?
Well, I mean, I hate to be like dim-witted, but I do think like the visual. I heard you snicker when I said that. The visuals need to be improved. The texture work, in particular, by today's standards, is pretty bad. It's a very muddy-looking game. So I'd say redoing maybe 90 to all of the textures, 90% to all of it, would definitely be a huge thing. Also, lighting and shadows, that stuff would need to be made into like a Wii U engine, next-gen lighting.
Like,
But,
if they could actually make it
yeah.
look similar to how the original Zelda demo looked on Wii U, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to touch on, is that, like, Twilight Princess HD compared to Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess is going to take a monumental undertaking in order to make it not look like ass, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Like, it has aged by far the worst of the 3D Zeldas, or at least, after the N64 ones, of course, but it was not that good looking a game to begin with, and especially by today's standards, it's really quite ugly. And Wind Waker HD, I mean, Wind Waker's art style already lent itself to an HD remaster.
was
Like,
pretty
it already
timeless,
kind of
yeah.
has that. Yeah, like, it's a timeless look. It doesn't really age the same way a realistic art style does, like Twilight Princess. So, the idea of remaking this game visually, it's going to take a lot more work for them to do that to Twilight Princess to get it up to a level where people aren't just going to scoff at it.
Now, to be fair, I really love the aesthetics and the art direction of Twilight Princess. Just making it look good would be great.
Yeah, I'm actually with you there.
Yeah.
I actually liked the overall visual style of the game.
Yeah.
Especially like the Twilight Realm, and like I think it had like even like a bloom like effect going on there.
Yeah, it
too.
did. The Wii,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, it
the
did.
Wii version did. I don't think the GameCube version had that effect.
But yeah, I mean, I could if they actually went back and redid those assets. And mostly the texture work, as you mentioned. I think it could look really good in HD, but it would require a lot of work. I think they actually did redo a lot of the textures too for Wind Waker HD. But in this case, the game definitely would need it. Like, it definitely needs an overhaul. So.
That game's not that old. I wonder if Nintendo would still have a lot of the original textures on file. Because generally when they would make a texture, they make it bigger than what it'll appear in the game. So they might have like a lot of the original textures on their files, which would be pretty helpful. Because it's not like we're talking about a game that's like 20, 30 years old here. It's,
Right.
Yeah.
a little under
Yeah.
10 years old.
That's true.
I have to say, the one thing I would like to see changed in a Twilight Princess HD more than anything else, even the graphics, honestly, is a rebalanced difficulty level that's somewhere in between, like, Baby's First Zelda and, like, quadruple damage and no heart drops. Like, there's such a huge gulf there that they could, not make it so stupidly easy, but also not hero mode hard that's just kind of unreasonable at times. Like, make it just, like Ocarina challenging. That was a well-balanced, fairly difficult game at times, but it was never unfair. And Twilight Princess, I think the one thing I hated about it more than anything was that it was so... Even the final boss did like half a heart of damage to you. And I'm like, that's great, that's crazy. It was so easy.
My biggest issue with Twilight Princess, and I'm at best indifferent to the game. I don't actively dislike it. I have some good memories of the game, but I only played it through once. And looking back, there's very few bits of the game that I actually actively remember. Like, I remember Zant, I remember the dungeon with the Yetis, and I remember all the horseback riding, and then of course the final boss and all that. But otherwise, I'm drawing a blank, and I'm not quite sure how to improve that. I don't know whether it's just time, but then other Zelda games I haven't played for a while, I remember everything about those, so I'm not quite sure why it was just so unmemorable, and there's not really much they can do to fix that, but I feel like there's a way they can just... I feel like there's enough that they could do to try to maybe improve just small things here. Like, I think a lot of small changes would go a long way in just improving the experience and maybe just making it that much more memorable.
You know how you can improve the game? Get rid of that fight on the Bridge of Eldin where you have to do the timed reactions.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hated
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, but you touch on something interesting, Derek. I mean, I feel the same way. I don't hate Twilight Princess, but of the trilogy of like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Skyward Sword, it's definitely my least favorite, and it's because of what you said. It's not aggressively bad, but it's just not memorable to me, and I don't know what they can do to change that. But I think maybe the reason for that is because it was sandwiched in between Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, two of which were fairly, unique Zelda games, Wind Waker especially, but Twilight Princess, by comparison, kind of felt like Zelda by numbers. It's like they used Ocarina as a template and just kind of filled in the blanks and just, tried to make a game as close to Ocarina of Time as they could. Whereas the other two really kind of were more their own thing, so I don't know what they can do to kind of make Twilight Princess stand out in that sense.
See, I would argue they didn't fill in the blanks, because the whole world is one massive blank spot.
Well, yeah, it was an allegory, but yeah, I
No, I gotcha. I actually think that's actually why the game is largely forgettable, at least for some of us here, because there wasn't much to do in the world, and so much of your time is spent in that world, just moving from location. I mean, it's kind of like Wind Waker, actually. So basically, what they need is a swift sail for the horse.
Yeah.
Super carrots.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, legitimately, I think if they flesh out that world, I don't know how they would tie it into the existing gameplay, but if they could find some way to actually add more to the world, that actually would go a long ways to making it more memorable. Even the town, like, is completely forgettable to me, because, like, when you go there, it's like, oh, this is super lively. There's, like, people walking around everywhere, but you can barely interact with anyone. There's almost no shops to go into. I mean, they really just need to flesh out the world. Like, it feels like they have a great facade, and there's nothing behind it.
Add a shop, add a few more side quests, add some things to do out in the overworld, and you'll be great.
Yeah.
The game feels very rushed, and like you said, it feels empty. Like, there's not much to do at all.
That's
And-
the thing. Is like, oh, sorry, I thought you were done.
Oh, it's fine. I was gonna say, like even stuff in Kakariko Village, or whatever they ended up calling it. Was it Kakariko Village in the game?
I think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
it
yeah.
was.
I don't know. The game's not very memorable.
I'm getting so frustrated by this discussion. It's unbelievable.
Well, maybe if there were things to do in the game, you wouldn't get frustrated about it, and
I
we would like
remember
it.
everything. Maybe I don't know how you guys don't remember
Except
the
the
game.
beginning.
Yeah, no, you don't remember the beginning.
Except the beginning. Well,
Yeah.
get right. But I didn't need to remember that because apparently it sucked.
Well, it just proves the game's not very
I don't
memorable.
remember anything from Skyward Sword.
Well,
Skyward Sword
makes
is the one
game
that's weird to me.
What makes the game stand out to you, Josh?
It had incredible atmosphere. Like, even I don't remember the levels being vapid and empty, but I remember like just finding the whole entire game's atmosphere was like so on point. There were a lot of areas. There's tons of variation to where you would be exploring. Something like Skyward Sword has like 3 worlds, and they're completely forgettable.
I like those
Okay,
sort of worlds.
but I take your perfect atmosphere, and I raise you the fact that town we were just talking about, where
Has
things are
Malomart
apparently
in it,
going,
and boom, that's all it needs.
no, but things are apparently horrible. Hyrule Castle is covered in twilight, and yet nobody in town gives a damn. They're just
Yeah,
going
why
about
do
their
they?
business, and they're like, "Oh, things are great. Who cares?"
That's how
And
I would react.
It broke the immersion for me. Completely broke it, because it didn't seem like the people in the world cared about the dire situation they were in.
They
were just
didn't
like, oh,
have
whatever.
to. They saw Link was there, and they're like, "Oh, that's that guy that's going to save everything." All right, got it. Let's just go back to hauling our crates of apples.
When they would even interact with him.
Well, they didn't need to. They knew he was busy.
I think one of the big reason I think everybody loves Twilight Princess, or the people that like Twilight Princess or really enjoy it, or it stands out for them, is, of course, as Josh says, the atmosphere. And so I think some of the dungeons were pretty decent. I remember having fun with them as I was playing through. But I think Midna is the big reason. She made the game for a lot of people. She made the game for me. She was just a wonderful side character that felt very different than anything else we've experienced before. And I'm not saying there's anything you can do to really improve her. She's pretty much perfection as is. But I think that is a big reason why people love this game so much.
But one character shouldn't sell an entire game. I mean,
Yeah,
I love Midna
I
Death
agree.
as well. I mean, she was a great, phenomenal character, and I really do think that she's most everybody's waifu, and that's why they love this game so much, because they want more of her.
Listen, she's definitely not my waifu.
Yeah, not mine either. I don't typically go for imps. That's not my really
I
thing.
actually liked when she was going to die. I was like, okay, Midna's going to die. This is going to be a good part in the game.
How do you have all the wrong opinions?
I don't understand it. It's like it's a special talent you have.
I'm so offended by this discussion.
Poor Josh.
Well, there's only so much you can do with aesthetics whenever there's no actual content in gameplay.
I'm going to replay this game. I want to. This better be coming to the Wii U Virtual Console only because I'm going to play this, and I can't wait to tell you guys why you're so wrong about that.
All right. Well, we'll have that discussion.
Wait, so you want it to come to the Wii Virtual Console and not be an HD remake? You just want the original?
I want it to be a remake. Yeah, obviously.
Oh,
a remake
okay.
would be better. And you know what? I'm going to point something out, and this is a hot topic whenever it's brought up. So let's bring it up. I think that if this is going to come to the Wii U as like an HD remake, sort of like getting the Wind Waker HD treatment, I think that is a little indicator that Zelda for the Wii U might actually not be exclusive to Wii U anymore, and this is a way to soften the blow. Thoughts?
That would
mean,
make a lot of
yeah.
sense.
Oh, I mean, I
You
think
could
that's
totally
a very
be
good
right.
chance that I think it will be in the next title as well at this point. So
I think it'll be a Twilight Princess situation where it's both Wii U and NX. I don't believe for a second that they're going to take the game away from Wii U because that would piss off too many people.
Oh, I agree with
but
that.
I do think
yeah.
it'll be both.
But do you think that a Twilight Princess HD would be something they put into development thinking, okay, well, we got to kind of soften the blow here. Let's bring that to the Wii U.
Yeah, I can totally see that
Maybe,
because
yeah,
it's
I guess.
still popular. That's why there was demand. There was demand for Majora's Mask, and that's why it was done. I wouldn't be surprised at all if if Twilight Princess HD was in development ever since Wind Waker HD came out.
I mean, that's a long time. They would have had to do a whole... Because Wind Waker HD was notoriously kind of finished in around 6 months or 8 months or something. It was a really quick turnaround time. Whereas Twilight Princess would have been in development for much longer than that, if that's the case.
Exactly, which is the exact reason why it took so long for Majora's Mask to be developed, because there was a lot of changes and things they worked on. And as we've
Right.
already been discussing, if they're going to improve Twilight Princess, there's a lot of things they need to do. It's not like Wind Waker, where you can just put on a fast sail and up the textures and do a few other little things to help improve the game. The main game there was pretty well, but I think we're on agreement here that there is plenty that you can do to make the game better, and it would need that extra development time.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being... I would love that if that was the case. I would certainly take interest in a vastly remade Twilight Princess that has been tweaked so much that it feels, almost like a new experience in some ways.
And actually, so I think, Josh, were you going to say, I think you had another recommendation you were going to suggest earlier that you think would improve the game that you never got to, or did you have any other ideas?
Are you hinting at something I told you earlier or something?
No. I thought you were going to say something earlier and someone cut you off, but maybe not. I mean, do you have any other ideas for what could improve what you already think is a great game?
Well, as all of you have already pointed out, my memory is foggy on this game, apparently.
Well, we point out about every game that you like, so...
More snowboarding. Put more snowboarding into the game.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Also,
minigame, yeah.
one of the
was
things I think I would
snowboarding?
want... Yes, and this with the Yeti guy when you were going into...
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on
Yeah, I
remember
ice.
that.
Yeah,
I
it
will
was
say, like,
forgettable.
Snowhead in general was one of the high points of that game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Snowhead
Oh, yeah.
Temple was pretty damn cool.
I liked
why
making
did
No
his
pun
wife-
intended.
Why did his wife have no arms? How is that not memorable to you? A Yeti with no arms! My God, you guys!
You got to make a really good soup, and it was fun and delightful. And I thought that the Yeti was going to turn and eat me.
You know what? He should have. Now that I've heard your opinion on Twilight Princess.
Aww.
I got one more improvement. Actually, a suggestion for improvement. Do you guys think that they would actually... Because I don't remember if they did this with Wind Waker HD, just offhand. But would they actually give it a full orchestral soundtrack?
They
rather than-
updated
they-
Wind Waker's music. I know that.
Yeah.
Some of it.
They didn't upgrade it to an actual orchestra, but they did upgrade it to a degree, so I would like to at least see that level of improvement. Because Twilight Princess, its synthesizers used in the soundtrack have not aged very well, so I would like to see some improvement in the audio.
It's really interesting because they originally considered giving Twilight Princess a full orchestral ensemble, and it'd be really cool to have that brought full circle and actually bring it in.
They did, and guess who vetoed that idea?
Mr. Miyamoto.
We know. Exactly.
Really?
There's a pattern here, isn't there? I mean, this could easily devolve into a discussion about what was taken away from Paper Mario Sticker Star, but I won't go there.
Don't get me started on Sticker Star. Because I like Sticker Star.
And you're wrong. That's okay.
I will say
Oh,
that
man,
I do
poor
have
Josh.
two. I have two big reservations about Twilight Princess HD, and one is whatever, I don't know how to say his name, Uku or Oko, I don't know, that creepy ass thing that I don't really need to see in HD, the Birdman thing.
Oh, yeah, the Okokos.
Yeah, the Okoko head.
Oh,
Yeah,
God, yeah.
Them, and then you know what? I'm like a major arachnophobe, and I could deal with spiders in games mostly, but those damn giant tarantula things in Twilight Princess always creep me out so much.
So that's a
seeing
good
them in
thing. It's supposed to be
isn't-
creepy.
Yeah, no, and they really are. Like, they did a good job with that design, but I never really needed to see them in HD.
The Okokos were really weird.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
they were
like them.
really unsettling.
I thought the mailman was the scariest thing in the game.
Oh, no, it's the baby. That's the baby salesman. That's the creepiest thing in the game.
Malo?
Yeah, Malo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
he's
that's
weird.
true, yeah.
He's got the greatest theme song ever, though. Come on.
He really
That's
does.
true. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've got another improvement they need to make to Twilight Princess, and it's such an easy one. So they need to get rid of that stupid message that appeared every time you opened, or every time you collected like a rupee over 10 rupees, I believe. Like, every time it's like, you collected 10 rupees, you collected 20 rupees. It's like, I know! Every other game's like this. You have to tell me every freaking time.
At least don't tell me when it's 5!
Yeah, and on
Yeah.
top of that, another annoying thing was when you were in the temple, I believe, or I think anywhere, I guess, and if your rupee counter, like if you had already maxed out your rupees and you opened the chest that you couldn't grab more rupees from, you
gotta
couldn't
put this
take
back.
it. You had to put it, yeah, you had to put it back. So you forever have the treasure chest on your map. It's
Yeah.
so annoying.
Well,
Yeah.
that goes back into another little problem with Twilight Princess. God, I feel bad ragging on this game.
I know.
That's why I'm here to make sure you
Because
so
there is,
easy.
there's things to like about Twilight Princess. I totally believe that, but
It does, yeah, there are.
there's nothing to
absolutely.
spend rupees on.
That's so true.
That's why they
The
introduced
only-
armor for you to spend it on.
Yeah, the armor that drains your rupees as you go along, but that's still like, that's dumb.
Did you
It really
pay the
is.
little bird to pass? That little bird that you had to pay rupees to pass, otherwise he would attack you.
Well, yeah.
How do you
I
not
mean,
remember anything from this game?
I don't.
I'm more surprised.
remember that.
How do you remember anything from this game?
Maybe they could
remember-
let you pay for a harder difficulty level. That'd be nice. Just pay to make the game harder.
Oh man.
I remember strange. I remember very specific things, but not obvious things like the introduction.
Hey,
Wait,
you guys
I'm not
remember
even
that spinner?
Yeah, I remember the spinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why didn't we get to use that more? That was awesome.
Well, that was something I was going to comment on. Was that Andre, when you were saying it'd be a good idea to fill out the world, or maybe it was you, Derek. Sorry, with more things to do. It would be great if they did that with challenges specifically geared toward these items that you only use once and they're done, like the spinner or the ball and chain. Things that were actually pretty cool, but really got no use outside of the dungeon that you found them in.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
true. They didn't use the items as good as like other Zeldas. I definitely will admit that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I don't know how. Yeah, I guess they could have like little mini games. You're saying basically.
Yeah.
Or something. I thought
Yeah.
the spinner was a really cool idea.
It was. No, they had some really cool items, but you're right. That was like, I mean, they treated the items as if they were just keys, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had no purpose really outside those temples. So they could add some use for them. That'd be great. It just
They
feels
made
like
all-
that'd be.
The
Go
question.
ahead.
They made all those
Yeah.
items so that they could use them in 10 years when they made Hyrule Warriors.
Oh, they're really thinking ahead.
Yeah.
You're right.
Foresight.
The question is that even if they do add like these mini games and fill out the world, usually the best reward is, of course, heart pieces. Would you want them to actually remix the heart piece locations to better suit those new mini games, or what other kind of reward would you like to see from that? These inclusions.
That's true,
I guess.
yeah. Yeah, what would be the, I guess, what, Meaver stamps? Or,
Yeah,
I don't know.
mean, that could
Yeah.
work.
I mean, I was kind of joking, but I'm kind of not at the same time. Like, what else could they really do?
They could do, you know what they could do? They could steal the idea from Wind Waker where there's a little figurine shop. Just put a figurine shop in Twilight Princess, and that could be something.
Oh, that's
to
true.
collect.
Oh, that would be if you had like
Yeah.
little statues you could get by during performing certain things and seeing more of the world. Yeah, well, yeah, that would be that would work. That would
And
totally
they
that'd
could
be a
write
good
little
idea.
bios about the people too.
yeah. Make them full on trophies.
Yeah. I like
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
That's not hard. You just take the model and then put it on a base.
Right.
They're already there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I do have one more improvement I wanted to kind of touch on, which is probably going to be a little controversial. I know you're not going to like this, Josh. Sorry in advance, but to me, Twilight Princess always had the misfortune of coming out very close to Okami. And in my opinion, Okami did the whole playing as a wolf thing immeasurably better in Twilight Princess. Like, playing as Wolf Link feels so stale and so lifeless compared to kind of the gait and kind of the momentum you have as Amaterasu and Okami. And there's just, I guess for me, I'll always think of Twilight Princess in terms of comparing playing as a wolf to Okami, but I wish they would tweak the wolf mechanics or physics to make it feel a little more different than playing as just regular Link. It just felt, I don't know, it always felt so bland to me, but maybe that's just me.
No, I mean, I definitely liked playing as Amaterasu more than Wolf Link. I really think that she had a much better feel, especially like whenever she started walking and then sprinted into a dash. That just felt
Yeah.
so satisfying every
She just
time.
had like really realistic momentum. Like, it really felt like you were just running across those fields. Whereas Wolf Link, I guess it feels like you're pressing up on the control stick, is what it feels like. You know what I
Now,
mean?
to be fair, there's more to do in Okami's overworld.
Yeah, that much more to do. That's definitely true.
Okami was a surprisingly lengthy game.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it's 3
it's an
games
epic.
in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember. Was there even much reason to play as a wolf outside of those? There were a couple times we had to look for you had to smell a trail, I believe. You could see a visible path, and then also when you're just collecting those annoying energy orbs or whatever they were, the life force things.
Yeah, the light orbs.
The light orbs, yeah.
You can talk to animals.
Yeah,
that was
the
it,
idea
yeah.
behind Wolf Link was that you could use your animalistic sixth sense and see things that human Link could not see. You know what was weird?
I guess, yeah.
You could never transform in front of people. This world is littered with crazy things all over the place, yet God forbid they see you transform into a wolf? What logic was that? I better not transform here, there's people around.
Wolf Link just always felt like a gameplay mechanic to me and not like an actual part of the world. It never really sold itself to me as an actual thing that Link had to go through. It just felt like, hey, we're throwing this in to make Twilight Princess stand out in some way. But now we're getting into really bad ragging on Twilight Princess, which I feel a little bad about.
Yeah, we gotta stick to realistic things that can fix it.
Yeah,
not overhaul
I mean,
the entire game.
It is still a good game. There's a lot that can be done to improve it, in my opinion.
I think the consensus we're kind of coming to is if they just flesh out the aspects that were good, this could make the game really good. It's just sometimes those aspects require a lot more work than was necessary for the Wind Waker HD.
Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean the problems are more interwoven into the game itself, as opposed to Wind Waker, which had one massive glaring issue, which they were easily, pretty easily able to fix.
Although I will say, in these we need to probably balance this out with nice things to say about Twilight Princess. I did love that direct callback to Ocarina of Time. I thought that was the coolest thing, where you actually do go inside the Temple of Time and find this whole other dungeon, this whole other part of the Temple of Time that you never knew was there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of lost some of that. It took me surprisingly long to figure out this was the pretty much the same map from Ocarina of Time, just slightly evolved. Because I played the Wii version. I immediately hated the mirrored aspect of the game as soon as I found that out, because I thought it ruined a really cool aspect, because it's not too often you get to see how a Hyrule evolves through a specific timeline, where you can still see it stay mostly the same, but has changed over time as well. And obviously, Ocarina to Twilight Princess is a great example of that. And I really hope it's not mirrored because of that. And that's why, going back to the control scheme really quickly, I like that idea of using the Wind Waker HD control scheme for Twilight Princess HD potentially, now that I think about it, because the only thing that was actually really cool about using the motion controls for Twilight Princess on the Wii version was aiming the arrows. Slashing, sword strikes, that's just wagging the Wii remote. That's essentially a button anyway. That was cool at the time, but that one, I don't think that would hold over well in today. People just don't want to wag anymore. They barely wanted to wag when it was 1-to-1 in Skyward Sword. Yeah. So I do think the Wind Waker HD control scheme would be perfect for Twilight Princess, because you could maintain the best part of the motion controls.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there. It would actually be a really good addition. I just really want to see what my reaction would be to a game that I haven't played in 10 years. That's hopefully been improved since then. Will I actually like it now? Because I didn't expect to like Wind Waker, and I totally came around with the remake, because they really did enhance that game a lot. Ooh. So they could do something similar for Twilight Princess. That'd be awesome. I would love to be able to love this game. I just have trouble imagining how they can pull that off. But
I'm looking forward to Sunshine HD then for you to play.
Oh man,
I would actually really want to play that.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's easy to fix Sunshine. Just get rid of the blue coins. You do that in the game, and you add some more actual challenge stars, challenge shines. The game is improved tenfold.
This is another game that I adore, being beaten up by a couple of twits. I'm done with this discussion.
Oh, man.
You like the blue coins?
I did, yeah. They're better than other stuff, like the 3 star coins or whatever they add in these days.
Yeah, I hate to admit that I agree with you, Josh, but I actually really did like Sunshine, and I loved how difficult the blue coins made it.
We're getting off track.
We totally are.
No, this is a GameCube game, just like Twilight Princess.
Plus, I will not allow for Mario Sunshine praise to be in our discussions.
One of these days, I'm going to get him to live stream that entire game with face cam.
Oh,
God.
this game.
Nice.
So people can see me commit suicide on air. Alright, so you guys have any final thoughts, any final improvements, or any lasting thoughts you want to give off before we wrap it up here?
I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. Whether this HD version can happen. It's very strange to me that it would be leaked on the eShop. That's very suspicious to me. That makes me think it's only going to. If we get anything, it's probably just going to be, the Wii version coming to the console. If we do get an HD, I'd actually be totally hyped for it. If they can make some good changes, I would be down for playing it and willing to give this game like let's see what it's got, and
Yeah, same here.
Andre, did you say that the file name was Twilight Princess HD, though?
That is correct. Yeah, it actually
now
had
that's-
HD in the name.
Yeah, I would agree with Derek about how I would definitely assume it's just going to be like Galaxy and Punch-Out, how they just re-released those on like the Virtual Console or whatever.
Right.
But since HD is in it, that makes it suspicious. And the icon doesn't have that white bar underneath it that has the Wii logo.
That's true.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's definitely very strange. I'd love to see it though, like a remastered, or just even if they just like made it in HD so we can look at it in HD. That would be an improvement in and of itself. So I'm down to play Twilight Princess again in any form.
Cool. Well, thanks guys for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links in the description below. It's a good way to keep updated on everything we post. And of course, keep an eye on GameXplain for more on hopefully this remake at some point, assuming it's a thing. We'll see. And other things gaming as well. Alright, thanks guys.